Hello everyone, in this video I'd like to show you guys a starter build guide for a Trickster Essence Drain Contagion that I will personally be playing at the start of the Delirium Challenge League that is currently approaching us on the 13th of March. Given the information about the league so far, we can safely say there's going to be a lot of monsters and density paired with deadly ambushes that we need to eliminate as fast as possible, but also be somewhat safe while doing so. And that is why I think Essence Drain Contagion will be one of the most powerful builds for the upcoming Delirium Challenge League, as it can quickly clear hordes and hordes of monsters up to 3 screens away. Now before I get into explaining how to get started with the build, please remember to like, share and subscribe if you thought that the video was helpful, as well as comment below if you have any questions or feedback regarding the guide. I will do my best to answer them all as quickly as possible. Thank you. Now, let us begin. Now first things first, for this guide we will be using an amazing free tool called Path of Building, which is essentially a PoE simulator, as I like to call it, that allows us to preview our build, change around skills and passives, as well as items to see how those changes will impact our character. It is 100% safe and fully supported by GGG, as its creator is now part of their development team. I will post a link for the download in the description below. Right, so now that you have Path of Building up and running, the next step is to click on this button up here called New. Once you are in it, you will open up this skill tree. It will look something like this. And in the top left corner, you will see another button called Import Export Build. Click on it. And then below it, you will see somewhere Import from Pastebin. Now, once you click on the Import Pastebin, it will open up a text box. And in that text box, what you want to do is you want to paste the Pastebin link that I'll be posting down below in the description. You then click import and then import once more, and it will open up the build that we're currently talking about. Now the reason why I like Path of Building so much is because you can make a lot of notes, as well as progression, skill setups and items that we'll be using. So the notes in question are here, which I'm sure a lot of you guys will love. Okay, so once we have the build showing up on Path of Building, the next step is to go down here where you will see this menu. Once you click on it, you will see that you have under the leveling tag, you will have a lot of options ranging from 10 points, 20 points, 32 up till 119, where is the final stepping stone of the build, which is around level 95, 96. The reason why I made it like this is so that it will be really helpful for you guys to understand how to level up this build point by point and where you should be at certain thresholds. So for example, we go under 10 points. We go and see next to the Shadow class, I've currently allocated 10 points. Now after that you have 20 points, which will further tell you where to go. Then you have 32 points and so on and so forth. Now at the 46 points mark, where it also says plus first lab, that means you're ready to ascend. Now Ascendancies are additional classes that you can add on top of your character. So for example, the Shadow has 3 classes, as you can see. It has the Assassin, the Trickster, and the Saboteur. In this guide, we will be focusing on the Trickster. Now for our first Ascendancy points, we're actually going to go for Swift Killer, which allows us to generate frenzy charges and power charges, and what those will do will just give us a bunch of damage as well as some clear speed. For the second labyrinth, I took Ghost Dance, which will give us Ghost Shrouds. So pretty much the way that it works, since we are a hybrid build, every time we get hit, 4% of our evasion rating will get recovered as energy shield. We will also have some chance to evade, as well as some movement speed while we have some energy shield. For the third Ascendancy points, I actually went ahead and took Patient Reaper. Patient Reaper just increases our damage over time, and it allows us to gain a bunch of life, energy shield, and mana recovery, as well as recovery rate whenever we kill something with our damage over time. It's great for sustain. It will heal us all the way up. For the fourth Ascendancy points, I took Escape Artist for defensives. Now, Escape Artist, what it does, it just gives us evasion rating per maximum energy shield on our helmet. And then maximum energy shield per evasion rating on our body armor. It also allows us to be stun immune and gives us some spell dodge chance while we have energy shield. Now, if you've never played an Essence Drain before, you might want to know the way the skill interacts with Contagion and why do we need it. Contagion is a spell that deals chaos damage to all enemies in the area and spreads when an enemy dies. But when spreading, it also spreads the Essence Drain's damage over time as long as the target that died was afflicted by Essence Drain. Now, let us get into the skills. So for the skills, since you only get Essence Drain at level 12, we will need to use something else in order to get to that level. The best way I found how to level up until level 12 is actually with Freezing Pulse and Frost Bomb. And as you can see here, up until level 12, we're using those two. Now I've linked Freezing Pulse with Onslaught, and then I've later changed the Onslaught into our Frost Bomb, and then I've added Arcane Surge onto it as well. Now this will give us a bunch of damage and clear up until level 12. Now once you get to level 12, you can actually switch to Essence Drain. You want to make sure that you have Contagion linked with Arcane Surge and then Void Manipulation if you have a free link. You also want to make sure that you actually get Essence Drain from your quest reward once you've entered the Merveil Caverns. And you want to link Essence Drain, Void Manipulation, and Arcane Surge. If you also have some free slots, make sure that you have a Blight with Infused Channeling, Void Manipulation. Preferably you want to have a Vol Blight. You can get Vol skills from Vol side areas, or you can get them by corrupting normal skill gems with Vol Orbs. Now at level 18, you can actually change your Arcane Surge to Control Destruction if you are still on the 3 link in your Essence Drain setup. Or you can just, if you have a 4 link, you can just slap on Control Destruction as well and keep Arcane Surge in there. Now at level 31 is when you're gonna get your best 4 link setup for Essence Drain. This is when you're gonna get your massive power spike. You want to have Essence Drain, Efficacy, Swift Affliction, and Control Destruction. The links that come after are depending if you're actually gonna have a 5 link or a 6 link later into the league. I will talk about the rest of the links in just a moment. Now for auras and curses at level 24, you're going to be able to pick up Malevolence Aura, which will increase our damage over time, and skill duration, which is great for damage over time, as well as Despair to use for bosses, which decreases their chaos resistance and makes them take more damage from chaos skills. Now let's say that you're into the end game, right? You've completed the story and you have a 5 link, maybe even a 6 link. What do you do? Now, the endgame setup for Essence Drain is actually pretty easy. You want to have Essence Drain, preferably level 21 if you can corrupt it from 20 to 21, or if you can just buy it for cheap. Efficacy, Control Destruction, Swift Affliction, Void Manipulation as your 5th link, and then as your 6th link, unless you have Empower level 3, you want to use Energy Leech. If you have Empower level 3, just take out Energy Leech and use Empower. Now for the Contagion setup, what you want to have is you want to have Contagion, Increase Area of Effect, Intensify, and Arcane Surge. Make sure you keep your Arcane Surge around level 7 so that it procs every time you're using Contagion. So that way you have some more recovery as well as some more damage. For the Blight setup, like I said, make sure you have Vol Blight. It helps tremendously with single target. Linked with Efficacy, Infused Channeling, Control Destruction. Now what you can do is you can actually craft gloves with Essence of Delirium, and that will allow you to have an additional 30% damage over time multiplier to your socketed gems, and you can socket your Vile Blight in there for a pseudo 5 link to have more single target. Now the aura setup for the endgame is actually pretty easy. It's Malevolence and Discipline. You want to have all discipline so you can instantly fill up your energy shield whenever you're in a tough situation. For utility and to be able to travel off ledges, you want to have Flame Dash. You can get this one at level 10. For movement and survivability, you want to have Shield Charge linked with faster attacks and Fortify. What Fortify does is whenever you hit an enemy, you're going to get a buff that reduces the damage you take. And then for cast and damage taken, you want to have a low level cast and damage taken. Anywhere between level 1 and 5 works, as well as a low level Tempest Shield to be able to be procced by your cast and damage taken. And what that will do will increase your block chance and your spell block chance. Now another gem that I like to use most of the time is Val Molten Shell, and you can choose if you want to keep it a lower level to be procced by cast and damage taken automatically, or if you just want to increase it up to level 20 so that you can use it reliably yourself and gain a bunch of absorption whenever you want. For the items, you want to make sure that you have chaos damage over time multiplier on your wand, and then potentially if you have some spell damage on it, that is great. If you can even get +1 to all chaos skill gems, then it's the perfect wand. Just go for it. You won. GG. Well played. You have a good one. For our shield, we want to have some energy shield and some life. Like I've said, this is a hybrid build. We focus on both life and energy shield. And as you can see on my shield, I also have +1 to all level of chaos spell gems to increase my damage. For our helmet, like I said before, we are using Escape Artist, and since we are using Escape Artist, we do get a bunch of evasion rating depending on how much energy shield our helmet has. Therefore, we're using a Hubris Circlet, which is the highest energy shield base you can potentially get in the game, and we get as much energy shield and life as we can get on it, and then we just slap on some resistances if we need some more. Now for our chest piece, we are using a Sadist Garb, which is the best evasion and energy shield base in the game for the same reason of Escape Artist. We do get a bunch of maximum energy shield depending on how much evasion we have on it. So life is not even that important on the chest piece. We can just prioritize getting as much evasion and energy shield on it, and maybe some resistances. Make sure you cap your resistances at all times. Make sure you have 75 to all resistances. And yeah. Now for our gloves, same idea. We get as much energy shield and life as possible. Now, like I've talked in the skill section, you can craft your gloves using Essence of Delirium, and that will give them a modifier such as this one, which will allow you to have an additional 30% damage over time multiplier for your Val Blight, making it a pseudo 5 link. But since we're trying to stay cheap, I'm just going to use some life and energy shield gloves. For our boots, we want to have as much movement speed as possible, preferably at least 20%. Please don't move slow, okay? Just get movement speed on your boots, it's important. Life and energy shield and potentially some resistances. For our amulet, we're using an Elder Amulet, which you can craft some chaos damage over time multiplier on it and some life. If you do not have an Elder Amulet, just get any amulet that has the resistances that you need and life. Same idea with the rings. Just get as much life as possible, resist that you need, and then if you can even craft some increased chaos damage on them, then they are perfect. In my example, I'm using Vermilion because they do give me a 6% increased maximum life as a base. Now, Stygian belts are the best belts in the game because they allow you to have an abyssal socket. Now, why do we need an abyssal socket? It's because we need an abyssal jewel, such as this one, which grants us some flat life as well as some chance to gain onslaught on kill. You can only get onslaught on kill from searching eye jewels as well as murderous eye jewels. You cannot get them on hypnotic jewels or ghastly eye jewels. Now once you get to Act 5, you're actually going to be prompted with the choice of getting one of the unique jewels after you've killed innocents. I do highly recommend you get Spreading Rot because that will allow your Blight to hinder enemies and make them take more chaos damage as long as they're hindered. For regular jewels, what you're looking for is maximum life and some second mod that gives you some damage. In my example, I have increased chaos damage, but you could also look for something like increased spell damage, increased damage over time, increased spell damage while holding a shield, and so on and so forth. Now, if you can get a jewel like this one, for example, which is a 3 modifier jewel, like I have, with maximum life, chaos damage, and chaos damage over time multiplier, then that is one of the best jewels that you can potentially get. Now for my flasks, I am using an instant life flask, which you can get by either having sitting or bubbling as your prefix, as you can see here. And what it does is just instantly heals your life rather than just recovering it over time. I do have it with a freeze removal and freeze immunity to make sure that I can move and actually kill stuff so I don't die. Now for my defensive flask, I am using a jade flask and a quartz flask just to make sure that my evasion and dodge chance is as high as possible. And then I do have bleed immunity and curse immunity on them just to make sure that I don't get cursed or bled and die. It doesn't matter on which one you actually get the modifier, just make sure you have curse removal and bleed removal. Now for my Zoom Zoom flask, I actually have an Alchemist Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline, which further enhances my movement speed while using a Quicksilver flask. I highly recommend getting this if you like going fast. And for my 5th flask, I'm actually debating either using a Witchfire Brew, which gives me a Despair Curse and some damage over time during the flask effect, or just using a Roomies to increase my block chance as much as possible, since I do want to eventually be able to use a Lethal Pride Jewel, which I will talk in another video. We've talked about skills, about items. Now I want to show you guys some additional information into the Notes tab. Now I've seen these templates of nodes before in the community and I immediately had to use it. It's just a great way to share your build with Path of Building and give more information on where to get certain things, when to use them, and other various tips. For example, I've updated the template to fit my build, listing where to acquire certain skill gems used in this guide, as well as adding some tips and additional information at the bottom. So even if you don't remember certain things from the video, you can always just go to the Notes tab quickly and refresh your memory. I hope you guys like this kind of template and please let me know what you think of it. But yeah guys, this is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember that I do stream on Twitch pretty much every day but on Wednesdays on twitch.tv/arfenlive. You can catch me there if you have any other questions regarding the build or just PoE in general. I'll be more than happy to answer them, honestly. But yeah, have a good one guys.